decade. We've presented over 100 concerts in the last 10 years, and we're so thrilled about that, to be able to continue to do that because you support us. So on the way out, if you'd like to donate, we would be more than happy to receive that. If you want to write a check, you'll need to write it to First Baptist Church, and then in the memo put First Fine Arts, and we'll be able to present more concerts like this, and we're thrilled to be able to do that. The coming weeks are filled with music here at First Baptist Church. Next Tuesday is my college voice teacher. So you'll want to come here, Dr. Town. He's been a mentor to me for many years. And I'm so thrilled to have him sing with us. Next Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary is our annual Christmas at First program. We have an orchestra of over 40. We have cast of thousands. It is the most beautiful way to celebrate the season and tell the gospel message of what Jesus has come for. So you'll want to be a part of that. Tuesdays throughout the month, you'll come at noon. After our concert, if you'll go through these doors and to the left in our fellowship hall, we have lunch that's provided. It's $5 lunch. It's a great time just to eat and get to know one another. So again, we're thrilled that you're here. Would you make sure your phones are turned off right now? Make sure that your ringers are on silent, so we don't want to be disrupted by that at all. Agarita is probably the hottest ticket in town. These wonderful first-class musicians are really changing how we look at chamber music, and their mission to take this kind of music to all over the city is really laudable. And I want to support them as much as we can. You'll recognize many of these faces from the San Antonio Philharmonic. They come and play in our sanctuary throughout the season, and we're thrilled to be able to support them in this way. Today happens to be Giving Tuesday, and you can also support Agarita if you want to go and go online and support them. They will be happy to receive your funds as well. But we want to support them in any way that we can. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you help me welcome Agarita? That was, of course, a small doxology for you. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. And this program today is themes of Advent. So we have pieces that reflect joy, peace, anticipation, love, all the things that
you want to feel this coming season. So we have a couple of pieces of new music on the program today. The first is by Stephen Hartke, and that's the piece we're going to perform next. It's from a large work called King of the Sun, which is a piano quartet for this instrumentation. In this movement we just love performing. It's called Personages and Birds Rejoicing at the Arrival of Night. And it has, of course, as you'd expect, themes of nature, this sort of beautiful outdoor environment. And I love the description that Hartke himself writes, an instruction to the musicians that says, play with quiet energy and with an air of innocence. And that's the sort of feeling that we're going to want to capture in this movement. So please enjoy, and thank you so much for listening to us today.
forward to playing music by Claude Debussy, French composer, who composed this trio at the very early stages of his career. This music is very, very joyful, and you could hear that he's still developing as a composer. And this music is very atypical of Claude Debussy because it's very, very romantic. Usually you think of Claude Debussy as somebody that creates grateful atmospheres and sensations that are usually not into the more romantic side of things. This is very romantic, and that's why it's paired as part of this joyful celebration of joy. Thank you.
this next work, we return to the 20th century, which is from a piece written around 1980 by the American composer George Crumb. George Crumb did a lot to experiment with extended techniques for the piano. So as you heard in the doxology in the beginning, sometimes, and also in the Hartke, I was reaching inside the piano and making unorthodox sort of sounds. And it's really not all things that are all that complicated. I'm not preparing the piano. I'm not throwing nails or screws or other objects in the piano. Really just using my fingers. Yeah. I would have asked for that, yeah. Although, yeah, I have done that too. But it's not good because it can ruin the piano. But, you know. So what I'm doing is muting the string with one finger and playing the key with another. So it creates sometimes just a muted sound that's kind of colorful and warm, and other times a harmonic, which is what the strings were doing in doxology, which is creating a pitch higher than the pitch that's actually being hit. And it creates this eerie sort of effect. Yeah, that's a harmonic right there. And there are just all sorts of techniques that you can use inside the piano that you're going to hear in this piece. And he really opened up the instrument because previously, you know, you just play the keys and make a sound. Okay, that's great. But there's this whole other, you know, imaginative world inside the piano to make other sounds. And he uses these to great effect to evoke the sort of environment or scene or color that he's trying to get. So this is called A Little Suite for Christmas, appropriately. And it's based on these nativity frescoes from a chapel in Italy, in Padua, that was colored and created by Giotto, the artist from medieval times. So this is a very, it's a kind of a tableau of small movements that depict the birth of Jesus and a variety of scenes kind of surrounding that. So you're going to hear Adoration of the Magi, and then you're going to hear the Nativity Dance, which is rather intense, and you might kind of, if you know the Stravinsky's Rite of Spring at all, you might get that sort of sense of this primal sort of dancing. And after that, the Berceuse, of course, the lullaby for the infant Jesus, and finally, the Canticle of the Holy Night. And in all four of these movements, you'll hear very different sorts of sounds to evoke very specific sorts of scenes. So I hope you enjoy this work by George Crumb, and if you like it, you should check out other works by him, because he was a really important composer for the piano. Thank you.
lovers and supporters of the whole community, not just the congregation and the church here, but really all of San Antonio and beyond, especially for the arts world, and it means so very much to us. We are thrilled as Agarita to be here today. If you are already part of our Agarita family, lovely to see you. If you're new to us, welcome, and we would love for you to continue to join us and follow us. All of our concerts and community concerts are all free of charge. Our mission, as Aaron mentioned before, is to bring music to the community and take down barriers to accessing that. So please come, bring your families, bring your friends, and Marisa will tell a little bit about some of the upcoming concerts we have. I want to talk a little bit about the next piece we're going to hear on the program. Very different from what you just heard in a lot of senses. We are turning back to Johannes Brahms, back in the kind of core of Romanticism. And we chose this piece really to fit into this program because you'll see on the program it says piano quartet in C minor. And, you know, minor music, while beautiful, doesn't always evoke the same kind of joy of the season. But this movement he actually wrote as an E major, which, when you're talking about musical relation, is it's quite different, and it's this lovely major key that we have that evokes this just pure love. That's what we feel when we play it, certainly. Ignacio starts with this beautiful soaring solo on the cello, and then we pass it back and forth. And it's one of the things that I think is most beautiful to listen to. Often you'll have one really feature in chamber music of the solo, and they'll keep coming back that same way. But I get to play the solo. Marisa has some wonderful counter melodies and harmonies, and Daniel fills it all out, and it's really kind of what we think of all coming together to make this one love experience, not just individual. Well, please enjoy the Andante third movement from Brahms' C minor piano quartet.
say we love that First Baptist also puts on these free concerts. It's really wonderful just to see everybody here noon on a Tuesday. Yes, we're also very happy to be here. As Sarah mentioned, that completely folds in with our mission of bringing free concerts to everyone. Speaking of concerts, this Sunday we have 2 free concerts with our mobile concert hall. One is at Santa Fe Episcopal Church in District 5, and the other is at the Whitty Museum for their holiday market. The first one's at 12:30, and the second is at 3 p.m. The weather looks pretty nice this weekend, so why don't you bring a picnic, a chair, come out and hear some music. You'll hear some fun stuff. We do piazzolla. We actually play this Brahms. Sounds funny for an outdoor concert, but it works really, really well with our programming. Next Saturday, we are going to be doing one of our collaborative concerts. So we have our Humble Hall, which is our mobile concert hall. We go to all 10 districts of San Antonio, bringing classical music to everyone. Then we have collaborative concerts, and this collaborative concert is actually with a poet. She's a very famous poet in San Antonio and around the world, Naomi Shiabnai. That is at the Radius Center, which is a stone's throw from here. We are requesting that you reserve your free tickets online at agarita.org. It's a smallish capacity for us, about 200 people. We had 550 people at our last concert, which was shocking for us. So we're like, whoa, gosh, I don't know what's going to happen this time. But I hope you can join us. And if not, we do release videos of some of our performances, so please do keep a lookout for that. You can go to agarita.org and sign up for a newsletter to get all the free things in the world. Last but not least, we're going to be playing the third movement from Mark Carlson's piano quartet. Like Mr. Hufty back there, this is actually my theory teacher from UCLA when I went there, so I have a personal connection with him as well. He's a lovely composer, composed a lot of new works for Pacific Serenades that have been performed all around the world. But we love this piece in particular because it's very grand. It's almost movie-esque. Like you can imagine yourself like in a cinema, and maybe some parts there's a love scene, and some parts there's like people riding cowboys, or, like cowboys and horses. I don't know. Anyways, use your imagination. I think that this one is fun. It's energetic. It's very joyful, and it does have a little bit of romanticism and grandiose. Again, thank you to First Baptist, and please enjoy this last movement from Professor Carlson's